Hi, my name is Brooke Stewart, and I'm going to teach you what you need to know about IV pumps. There are a number of IV pumps out there, but except for some details, they are relatively similar. It is important that you plug it in because if the battery runs out completely, it needs to be reprogrammed. One thing that's similar about all pumps is that they have a screw and knob on the back so you can move it up and down along the pole to change the height. They are heavy, so get a good grip before you begin to loosen it. Oh yeah, that is pretty heavy. And then you can move it up and down to change the height. You already learned how to spike the bag and prime the tubing. It works the same way when you're using a pump. Of course, it has a roller clamp, which you have already learned about. As you learn, you prime the tubing by squeezing the drip chamber and opening the roller clamp. You of course get all of the air out of the line. It works the same way with a couple of exceptions. This tubing has a back check valve to keep the fluid moving in the right direction. That's this little white thing right here. It has extra ports to give fluids or medication through. And just to double check, turn these upside down and give them a flick. It has a special adapter to fit into the pump, which you're going to learn how to put in right now.
Excuse me, Mr. Hoots, I hate to bug a busy bird, but I want to learn the sax, and I need a helpful word. I always get a silly squeak when I play the blues.
Ernie, keep you cool, I'll teach you how to blow the sax. I think I dig your problem, it's rubber and it quacks. You'll never find the skill you seek till you pay your dues. You gotta put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky, yeah, you gotta leave the duck alone. You gotta put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky.
Put down the ducky if you wanna play the saxophone.
So you can see that there are two parts to this Alaris pump. The one part says Alaris PC. You can think of that as your personal computer or the brains behind the operation. The side arms over here are called channels. You can see it says channel right here. You're going to put the tubing into the channel or arm, and the most important thing to remember is loading it from top to bottom. You open it by pulling up on this and then opening it up. You open it by pulling up on the bottom and then pulling back on the lever. You have some odd-looking blue parts to this tubing that you want to hold on to load it. Make sure you put the top blue part in first, the circular part, and then insert the bottom part. Be sure the tubing slides down through this little notch. Then all you do is close the door. And if you can, I don't think I closed it. Did I? Is that, okay. Next, you just close the door. And if you can close the door, you've done it correctly. There are two places where you could screw up in loading the pump. You can put it in, you could put the white part in first. That won't let the door shut, so that's wrong. And also, if you put the blue part in first, the bottom blue part, before you put in the top blue part, it won't load correctly either. So make sure you do it top to bottom, and the blue part in the bottom part. You have a step-by-step instruction sheet that shows you how to do this. Make sure you have it in your pocket when you go to clinical. So now we come to turning the pump on and telling it what to do. First, we're going to talk to the PC part, or the brains. To turn it on, you want to push this black button here that looks like a target. And there you go. The pump is going to ask you a series of questions that you have to answer, such as what kind of unit you're on and the name of the patient. You'll notice that the pump is very annoying and will start to beep at you. The person who invented the pump had a sense of humor. The button is golden, just like silence is golden, so push that. So now to answer our questions. Is this a new patient? Yes. Medical, oncology, surgical, or telemetry? What kind of unit are you on? And we'll choose yes. The next screen asks you for a patient ID, but you're just going to put a particular unit number in, not a patient ID. Your instructor will give you a 5-digit code because it's different on every unit at every hospital. So first you'll choose new patient, then you'll choose that you're on a medical, oncology, surgical, or telemetry unit, if that's the case. And then it's going to ask you to enter a patient ID, and that is actually just an ID of the floor and unit you're on, not of the actual patient's ID. So then you just press confirm for now. So you can see this is saying channel A, so you want your brain talking to channel A over here. We are now sure that we want the A brain talking to channel A right over here. Then, once you are sure, you hit channel select. Now you can see the brain gives you 3 options, but we won't be using the third option, basic infusion, because it does not have any safety options with it. If that happens, just hit channel select again, but make sure you confirm that you're on the correct channels, and then you're back to where you were. Now you have 2 options, guardrails drugs and guardrails IV fluids. You use the guardrails drugs for all of your medications, and then the IV fluids for IV fluids. And it went back again. Right now we're going to talk about IV fluids, so we'll select IV fluids. The 2 most common IV fluids you will select are maintenance IV fluids and maintenance IV plus KCl. So we'll choose maintenance IV fluids, and then it will ask you if the selected choice is correct. And then you click yes. It will then ask you the rate, and again you want to remember that it will ask you in milliliters per hour. You want to press rate, rates there, and then you want to type in 125. Again, you just hit the numbers 1, 2, and 5. So you're almost there. You have your milliliters per hour, but now you want to put in the volume to be infused, abbreviated VTBI. So you have VTBI selected, and then you plug in 950. So we're going to plug in 950, so the machine will let us know when it's almost empty. So you have VTBI selected, and then you plug in 950. The machine tells you to press start, so you have to find the start button, and it's right here on the screen, and then you just click the arrow pointing to it. Well, there seems to be something wrong, and the machine's trying to tell you what it is. It says occluded patient side. So that's telling you there's an occlusion between the bottom of the pump and the patient. I found the problem. I need to open the roller clamp. Once we found the problem, we hit the restart button, and then we'll have the green light.